Welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of our multiplayer Hearts of Iron 4. We've got a couple of new folks playing new nations now. So here is the rundown of what we're looking at going into episode 2, which is September 9th of 1937. I will be playing Germany. Random British guy is Great Britain. Grumblebee continues as USSR. Grandborg is France. Shiite has now joined us, playing as Spain. Wise Guy continues to be Italy. Rixus is still Brazil. Insane is Japan, who is leaving the Axis, so I'll be booting him from the faction as soon as we get into the game. Beep, who was playing in Central America as El Salvador, has now taken over Iran. USS Torsk continues to be the U.S., and Santis is playing as Manchukuo. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. We're going to give everybody a chance to get everything set up, and then we'll see where we're at here in episode 2. Okay, so taking a look at where things stand at the beginning of this episode. Of course, we have taken over Belgium and the Netherlands. We are now making plans for Czechoslovakia and Poland. We are going to go ahead and remove Japan from the faction at his request, so that frees him up to kind of do whatever he wants. So here we go, kick from faction. I don't like that we're kicking him from the faction, and I'd like to replace him at all possible. So I may look to see if we can maybe get Iran. I think Iran's probably going to ally with USSR, though. France would be awesome if we could get France, but other than that, I really don't know. I tried to ask the USA if he was interested, but Torsk said no to that. So unfortunately, that's not an option either. Okay, so we have gone ahead and unpaused Japan, the little traitor. When he asked me out of the faction, I didn't know he was immediately going to join the British faction and be our enemy. So that's okay. Not a huge deal. I think we're still going to be okay, even with Japan on the other side. They're far enough away that it's not a huge concern. On the other hand, France, I just had a private message with him. He's at 27% fascism. As soon as he hits 30, we can invite him to join the faction, and he is going to join the faction. So that gives us a really nice little central powers of France, Germany, and Italy right here. And as long as we can stay on good terms with the Soviet Union, I think we can handle the British. All right, we've invited France to the faction. France has accepted our offer. We stand together. So let's take a look at the factions now as they exist. You can see the axis right there. British Empire. You can see what all they include, which in terms of the players, we've got Brazil, and then the Commonwealth of Nations, the U.S. and Canada. We've got Comintern here. Iran hasn't currently allied itself with anyone. So that's kind of where we're at. I feel like the axis we're still pretty strong. British Empire is Japan, Manchukuo, and then the Commonwealth is kind of separate from that. So let's see what's going on down here. I think Italy's trying to take South Africa. That's kind of the plan as it exists right now. But not having to worry about France is a huge deal. That's going to help a lot, I think. We're continuing to get ready and ramp up for this war on Poland. Well, now Iran has joined the British Empire, so we had a feeling that might be a possibility. That makes it all the more important that we keep the Soviets on the good side. Somebody said the Soviet Union's about to declare war. I don't know. Oh, they're justifying against Iran. That's why they joined the British Empire. They needed an ally there. So the Soviets may go to war with the British. So I guess the enemy of our enemy is our friend in that situation. We just completed a treaty with USSR, which is going to allow us to build our tanks 2 years early. That's a huge, huge deal for us right now. Let's go ahead and see what we want to do next. I think I'm going to go Reichsautobahn. Hopefully he accepts that treaty. All right, there we go. The Soviets have accepted the German-Soviet treaty. That's a big, big deal for us because that allows us to start building medium tanks. It also allows the Soviets to do the same, but as long as they're on our side, or at least not getting in our way, then that's going to be good. So as soon as we finish convoy interdiction here, we'll go ahead and start researching those medium tanks. That'll allow us to start getting those panzer divisions so we can really start ramping up the ability for blitzkrieg warfare. All right, so the Dutch East Indies has capitulated to the Japanese forces. I feel bad that I allowed him to make that invasion now that he has betrayed us and left our glorious faction. But that's okay. We are preparing for the invasion of Poland. That'll be happening in December. I've got now a total of, let's see, 48, 67, 87 divisions total in my forces. And France is working on becoming fascist so he can send troops down into Spain and see if we can kind of do something about all of that. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's November of 1937. Let's take a look real quick at where we're currently researching. Even though it's way ahead on technology, we're working on the 1940 submarine hull. That's a level 3 submarine. That's going to be a nice bump up in technology for us so we can start dealing with the British Navy a little bit. Direct ground support is our current land doctrine we're working on. Or I'm sorry, air doctrine we're working on. We're working on Armored Spearhead, which is our first Blitzkrieg land doctrine. And the Panzerkampfwagen 3 is our medium tank, which will be available in just over a month. Not in time for us to be able to get them into the Blitzkrieg of Poland, unfortunately. But they'll be ready for any future wars after that. South Africa is now controlled by Italy, with a little piece going to Japan over there on the west coast. Not sure entirely what that's about, but that's kind of where we're at now. Taking a look at the map here as we get ready for our invasion of Poland, you can see that France, we've completed our justification of Luxembourg. I guess we'll go gobble them up real quick. France has moved all of his troops down here to the Spanish border. He's just waiting for the ability to go in and actually do that. You know what? I could actually call him to the war. And then, oh, he's already been called and we're awaiting his response. Okay. So that's already happened. Let's go ahead and declare on Luxembourg real quick. Really not anything to be lost by doing that. We just got to move in to grab Luxembourg and its massive one little territory there. We're about a week away from the invasion of Poland. We're going to be coming at them from up here in this little piece of Prussia that we own. There we go. We've called France as our ally in the German-Belgian War. I wonder if that means that France can finally move her troops. Yeah, it doesn't look like she can yet.
Angetreten.
Taking a look at research. We're getting real close on a couple of these things. Most notably those medium tanks. That's the thing I'm really excited about. We'll go ahead and watch our troops waltz into Luxembourg unopposed. I don't have any tanks, or I could have sent somebody a whole lot faster. This is taking quite a while. A day and 3 hours still. See if we can speed up time a little bit. Oh, who's sending troops over there? Alright, there we go. Luxembourg has fallen. Is this actually territory of Belgium that's being controlled? We might have to deal with that. In the meantime, let's go demand the Sudetenland, shall we? We'll deal with that while we're waiting for things to happen with Poland. Okay, here we go. We've completed our justification against Poland. And Grand Borg, who controls France, is asking me why I was justifying against him. I'm not. So I don't know what that's about, but here we go. And now we are at war with Poland. We're going to send everybody. The French Commune joined Canada. The French Commune declared war on France. France has got a civil war on its hands. Whoa, interesting. Alright, so that's not particularly helpful to have that happen at the exact moment that I declare on Poland, but I think we've got enough troops that we can help France out. So I'm going to slow things down for a minute here. Let's see what we can do to help Poland, or help France out.
Weiter! Weiter!
So we got to help France out. Looks like the U.S. must have done that. We should be okay. Italy ought to be able to help too. Oh, maybe not. I'm sending 19 divisions to help France. Hopefully that doesn't screw me up from being able to take Poland too much. I think we've got more than enough to get it done. In the meantime, we gotta work on research a little bit here. Are our tanks done yet? Not quite. Just about there. Alright, hopefully this doesn't go too badly for France. I think we'll be okay. Okay, good. So Italy and I are both going to send help to France. This is going to kind of become the battlefield, unfortunately. Looks like some of my fleet's going to probably get engaged here. Let's see if we can maybe send... National focus canceled. Why did the Sudetenland get canceled? Czechoslovakia must have joined somebody. Well then. Oh, I don't have the manpower anymore. Ah, darn it. So because I lost the manpower in the course of the war, we're right on the border there of the manpower unit. So we're gonna do this. That should deal with that issue. So then we can restart Sudetenland.
Befehle!
Alright, we're gonna send a total of 25 divisions now.
Zeigt es
And we'll
ihnen!
make it 24. This has gotten pretty intense pretty quickly. We're going to start working on Panzer IVs right away. It's going to take a while to get them, but that's alright. I think we'll deal with Poland pretty quickly. Well, somehow, I don't know what happened to France's army, but he just seems to have gotten completely wrecked. And I got to be careful here because I got a lot of divisions over here that I sent to try and help him. And they're suddenly all over the place. So I don't know what's going on there. It's just gone, he said. Oh my goodness gracious. I cannot believe he had a massive army. And yeah, like 1 million men are suddenly gone. Oh my gosh. Well, that could not have come at a worse time right as I was invading Poland. If it had happened any other time, I wouldn't have decided to invade Poland like I did. Oh boy.
Zeigt es
What a
ihnen!
mess.
Achtung!
So we're going to try and take Calais and then turn around as quickly as we can here. I'm just worried about my divisions now
Angetreten!
getting lost in the shuffle with all of this. Alright, so it now becomes necessary for us to try and win this war in Poland as quickly as
Greif
possible.
weiter an!
Because we have issues otherwise in terms of being able
Weiter!
to
Weiter!
deal with the situation in the West, which has deteriorated rapidly. Thankfully, Italy's starting to get some stability up here in the front, and eventually we might be able to push this a little bit. But I've got units that are in danger of getting surrounded. I've got guys all over the place because I was expecting France to help me, and then it ended up being me all by my lonesome self. So I'm trying to pull everybody back here, but I think I'm going to have to pull some of these units off the front line with Poland
Befehle!
to go deal with the situation over here where they've taken Stuttgart and they're pushing into Germany. Okay, so I've got 6 new divisions in the field, infantry divisions. I've also sent 7 from the Eastern Front. That's going to give me a new army of 13 divisions that we're going to stabilize this bulge in the line right here and push them back. And once we do that, we're going to be okay, because then we'll start to deal with everything else that's happening up here, and we'll start pushing the line back.
Bereit zum
I
Ausrücken!
never would have invaded Poland if I'd have known that was going to happen instantly at the same time. As soon as I can kind of close the pocket here in Poland,
Ausrücken!
we will be able to send some additional units to the west. At that point, once I can kind of consolidate these 2 lines, I can probably get away with just 48 divisions on the Eastern Front. And now the Soviet Union has declared war on Iran, so that's 2 human opponents going up against each other. But I think he did tell Beep that he was going to puppet him. Beep keeps choosing countries that get invaded by larger countries. So there you have. Now we know what Stalin's up to. We're finally getting these units on to the battle line there, so that'll help there. If I could just finish closing this pocket and eliminate these Polish units, we'll be able to stabilize the situation over there. In the meantime, we're about halfway to being able to demand the Sudetenland from the Czechs. You can see Italy's making some progress down here, but man, that is not a war that we thought we were going to have to deal with.
Zuhören!
Let's go ahead and try to close some of this gap a little bit.
Ausrücken!
Should peace return? Carlos, Spain. Dynamic white peace. This is... So that's just Spain. Alright, we'll do it. Luxembourg, Belgium, Netherlands. Alright, we'll accept it. Let's see what happens now. Oh, let's pause for a second. So we've got peace treaties being signed. Obviously, this is not going to include what's happening in France. Okay, whoa. French Commune was annexed. Free France was annexed. Whoa. So I don't know if I fully understood exactly what was being accepted here, because I did not know that was going to include giving up France. I didn't choose for that to happen at all. Who are we still at war with? Poland, Romania. Okay, everybody else we're at peace with. Oh boy. Alright, let's see if I can figure that out. Alright, well, we had some issues with all of that white peace stuff that happened. Unfortunately, we were trying a new mod that allows certain peace conditions to happen and stuff, and apparently when a bunch of people received the peace offer for Carlos, Spain, it also made peace with everything else. And so, among other things, one of the casualties was that France has been lost, which really hurts big time that we lost France. We also had things like territories go into the wrong nations, like Italy got the Netherlands and Belgium from me. So we installed something called the state transfer tool that allows us to fix that. We've reloaded the game, and I think now we've got everything resolved. So now my whole focus becomes dealing with Poland. Once we've dealt with Poland, then we can kind of figure out where we go from here. Well, there goes the Philippines. They've capitulated to Japan. So let's take a look and see the situation out in the Pacific now. You can see Japan is starting to take a lot of territory in Southeast Asia. British Malaya is right there in the middle. Be interested to see how that all plays out. Japan's also got Korea. Not sure where that goes from there. You can see the situation with Spain. He's pretty well just about done with his civil war in Spain. We're waiting on demanding the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. We are about 3 weeks away from that, and it looks like Italy's planning a move on Yugoslavia after that. And I'll be as soon as I finish off Poland, I'll probably be going into Romania, since we're at war with them as well. So that's kind of where things will be. What's left of Czechoslovakia and then Hungary, and I don't know where they're at in all of this. Actually, they're fascist. We can't invite them to the faction for some reason. Not sure why that is. Oh, because we're at war. Once the war's over, we may be able to invite Hungary to our faction, and that'll pretty well seal all of Central Europe for the Axis powers. Well then, Lithuania just joined the war, so that's a new
Angetreten.
enemy to worry about. Yeah, Carlos, Spain had just sent me a request to join their war, and I refused it, which is probably good because they just lost anyway, and that would have dragged me into the war in Spain once again. I'm really not interested in doing that. We're going to keep on working on these submarines for now. So now that we have medium tanks, we've got to start switching our panzer divisions over from the light tanks that we're currently using over to medium tanks. We're also going to need to add some motorized infantry to that. I want to get their combat width up at least to 20. Right now it's at 12. How about some motorized artillery? That'll get us up to 20 there. Alright, that should work. So let's start building up some of those instead of infantry. Bangladesh declared war on Pakistan. So we're going to start slowing down our production of additional infantry units. Instead, what we'll do is we'll just add to the existing infantry units that are in the field, and then we're just going to start producing large numbers of panzer divisions instead. German forces advancing in Poland have succeeded in capturing Warsaw. So there's that. Now Grodno becomes the new capital. Poland's almost capitulated. They're very, very close, and it's a pretty small war that we're in at this point. It's just Lithuania, Romania, and Poland. And almost all of that is Poland. Lithuania will fall fairly easily. We're going to slow down a little bit at the moment just because we're switching over to producing different types of weaponry now. So we're not going to be reinforcing these divisions as quickly as we were. Plus, we don't have any oil at the moment. Now, we've demanded the Sudetenland. Let's see what Czechoslovakia does with that. Hopefully they accept. That'll give us some additional land. And then, of course, we can go down the road of taking Czechoslovakia if we want. Can't quite do that yet because they haven't done anything with the Sudetenland. So we've got to wait for that. There it is. They refused us Sudetenland. Okay. So Czechoslovakia, your time's coming. But I'm trying to trade for oil. I just can't get enough. That'll be solved when we march into Romania and take their oil fields. Alright, so Iran has capitulated to the Soviet Union. And we're really, really close with Poland. So we'll see what he's going to do with his first little taking of territory. The Iran Communist Authority was puppeted. So he has kept Iran as a nation, but they're now a puppet of the Soviet Union. We are at 99% on Poland. We just need to take one more little victory point somewhere, and we will complete the war on Poland, which is good because we're really slowed down right now by the lack of oil. Our entire army has ground to a halt. I'm trying to find who else I can trade with to gain some additional oil. It's just tough right now. I guess we can trade with the newly constituted Iran. Let's see if that gets us enough. Our daily gain's 3.4. Oh, we're not consuming nearly that much. I'm not sure why we don't need it. There we go. Oh, nice. We need 11,000 in military weapons there. Poland has capitulated. And I guess with that, we're going to take all the states for now. Oh, Italy gets a turn in all this, I guess, huh? No, let's see what we do with Lithuania. We're going to puppet Romania. Oh, I guess I can't do all of that. Can't do that, huh? Okay. So the important thing here in taking Romania is that we get the 70 oil that Romania produces, which is absolutely huge for us. So now we're going to, I think, just pass because we don't really have the points to do much of anything else. It's El Salvador, for some reason, getting points. And I'm not entirely sure why he's getting any points, but that's what's really slowing this whole process down, is that we're waiting for him to do whatever he's going to do. So we're going to satellite Transylvania, and I don't think we can satellite everything else right now. Okay, so here we go. And for some reason, El Salvador was a part of that, so now he's got territory in Europe. But the biggest part of all of that, of course, is that now we've got a source of Romanian oil, which is going to fuel our armies for quite a while. So now we've got to get reset. Italy's going to go after Yugoslavia. We got to try and see if we can get Hungary to join in our side. Right now, it's just not good enough, but if we maybe improve relations with them, maybe we can get to the place where we can get Hungary to join the Axis. But now we're going to go after Czechoslovakia, who refused our demands for the Sudetenland, and that just cannot be allowed to stand. So let's get into position and ready for that. All right, Italy declared a war on Yugoslavia. As soon as we get everybody in position here, we're going to declare war on Czechoslovakia. We'll get our air power ready to go. Air power is something I need to start working on. Now that we've largely stabilized the situation in Europe, the next things I need to do is, number one, I need to build a defensive line along the border with the Soviet Union. We're going to fortify that. That way, if he does decide to go to war with us, we can just let him just hurl massive amounts of manpower against our defensive divisions there and hopefully throw them back. The other thing I need to do is start working on my Air Force and my Navy a little more.
Right.
Okay, so we have declared war on Czechoslovakia. He's also going to invite us to his war with the Yugoslavs. We're sending these 13 divisions down here to the border with Yugoslavia, so we'll be able to help him open up a second front. We'll be able to march right in and take Belgrade pretty quickly, I think, when the time comes. And it looks like Canada just got pulled into that war, so I'm not entirely sure why that happened. But Czechoslovakia should go down pretty quick. I didn't quite have all of my units where I wanted them for that one. Ex-Commissariat Lithuania. Oh, that's the puppet that we have there. So not all my units were in position yet. That's okay. They'll get there. Okay, so now Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia have joined the Commonwealth of Nations, which means that now they're going to get support from all of those nations, which means we are once again at war with New Zealand, Canada, South Africa, Australia, the Netherlands, and the United States, among others. But it doesn't look like the U.S. has that big of an army at the moment. You can see that all told with the manpower, we in Italy are able to handle this just fine. It looks like the British Empire is somehow on our side in all of this. So we're going to call everyone against everyone in this war. Czechoslovakia is putting up more of a fight than I expected them to, but in the end, the result will be the same. I was still getting forces in the position where I wanted them. And so the idea here is going to be we're just going to try to push through to the other side. Cut them in half and then see if we can just kind of isolate these divisions down here in Slovakia, destroy them, and then turn and take out the rest. Erwin Rommel was wounded for 90 days. That's not good. Okay, so Australia has called the French Commune into the war, so we've got a major issue now because I can't handle fighting France while simultaneously fighting Yugoslavia and the Czechs. The Czechs we will deal with soon enough. I can't deal with all the other folks too, though. That's kind of the problem here. So are we now at war with France? I believe we are. Now, they're communist, but we are at war with them, so we're going to have to send some divisions over there to deal with that. So I'm going to create a new army. Just infantry mostly. At least throw them on the border with France. They're saying they have no divisions there, but I can see the Americans have at least one division up here. So as soon as we deal with Yugoslavia. We can go deal with them. Czechoslovakia is halfway there. Yugoslavia is a little closer. I've got the Czechs cut in half. Now we're going to deal with the rest of them. Okay, so we've signed the tripartite pact, which means that we are all guaranteeing each other, us, Italy, and Japan. It's kind of a step toward reinstituting the Axis, though we know Japan's not interested in that. I'm rushing another army over to the border over here with France. Hopefully we can stabilize that situation, at least hold them where they are while we finish off Czechoslovakia, which shouldn't be too much longer. They don't have a lot of points for us to take.
Los, ausrücken!
It's just that I removed a bunch of divisions.
Abstand halten!
So we just need to go after their strong points while we hold the French. Okay, so we've stabilized the front with France, and pretty soon we'll be able to push back there, but Torsk just asked me not to take Dunkirk for about a week, and I think that's because he's trying to pull his troops out of there, but we're going to pursue them because just about annihilated that U.S. division there. What we're going to do instead, we're going to try to encircle some of these French divisions. As soon as Italy deals with the rest of Yugoslavia, which is getting pretty darn close, then he'll be able to help with the situation elsewhere. I'm trying to deal with Czechoslovakia. Has just been a nightmare for me. You can see how that's going, but things are going better with France now. Okay, well, our units are marching toward Paris. It seems like now that the U.S. pulled his troops out, the French Commune just can't hold against us at all. So we're going to be able to continue our march on Paris. Yugoslavia looks like one more good spot, and he'll be able to deal with him. Unfortunately, I'm still just dealing with a nightmare situation over here with Czechoslovakia. But now that we're starting to load up a bunch of units over here, I think we can probably start pushing toward Prague. But I think Paris is actually going to fall first, surprisingly. There we go. Yugoslavia has capitulated. So now we turn around and we deal with the Czechs once and for all. And once we deal with the Czechs, France may fall before Czechoslovakia does. Here's the situation with all of that now. French commune's about a third of the way there. I think we've got more than enough divisions to do that. So what I really need to do is I just need to reorganize all of my forces. Everything just got so screwed up when we ended up in a war that I wasn't expecting to be in. So we've got this big bulge right here that we've got to deal with the Czechs. Alright, so I think we'll probably wrap this episode up as soon as we take Paris, which is going to be any second now. Now we're on the verge of taking Paris. We've got some troops encircled over here.
Auf geht's!
See if we can finish them off.
Auf geht's!
Just want to see Paris fall before we wrap this up. I feel like that'd be a good spot. And let's kind of zoom out and see the situation. You can see the mess with Czechoslovakia, but Italy, they're going to start dealing with France from the south over here. I've largely got France dealt with. There's the fall of Paris. We're going to encircle some French troops. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up right there, and I'm going to reorganize my armies. I'm going to send additional units from the French front back over to deal with Czechoslovakia because they're marching on Berlin, and that is just not going to be able to stand. So we'll wrap it up right there, but let us know your thoughts. That was a crazy episode, and a lot happened. But hit that like button if you would, and we'll see you again probably another week or so with the next episode. Thanks for watching.